First up is Tesla. Now, a lot of people think that Tesla is overvalued. It does have an extremely high PE ratio, but investors continue to pump money into this tech stock. If you look at the chart, we can see it has been in a long-term uptrend, particularly from the low in January 2023. And adding a trend line, we can see that the price is moving up. Now, since the all-time high in December 2024, Tesla has pulled back significantly towards this trend line in yellow. So you can see price is looking as if it's finding support. And if we draw a support line, this level here does correspond to around about $212, which when we look at the previous price action, we can see it's found support multiple times over the last couple of years. So this definitely is a key level for Tesla. So we can see that price did fall into this level here in March 2025. And of course, this is last week's price action here. So it looks as if Tesla has fallen into this support level of 212 and may be looking to move back up. Based on the trend line, it looks as if each time it comes back to find support, it does push off. So this significant fall into the trend line may be the support level. It may be the catalyst for Tesla to start moving up once again. So in terms of how much has fallen from the all-time high into that support level, it has fallen 56%. And that's a healthy pullback. Around 50% is a very strong rule in trading. I'm sure you're aware that if stocks do find support at that 50% level, there's a strong probability they're going to move back up and possibly extend to 100%. So if you were to pick up Tesla at this current level, $236, there is an upside potential back to the all-time high of around 106%. However, it is high risk at the moment. We've only got 1 week of April here showing on this monthly bar. So it's probably best to wait a few weeks just for price direction to confirm before considering Tesla. But based on the long-term price action on this trend line, it does look as if it's finding support here and will move back up, back into trend. Okay, next up is SoundHound. Again, we're looking at the monthly chart here, and straight away we can see that the price has been trending up since this low back in December 2022. Once again, applying a trend line, we can see that price is respecting this trend line on multiple occasions. It's come back to test in Feb 24, close in October 2024, and obviously last week it has come back and looking to find support at the trend line. Now with this stock, there's not a lot of price history, it only goes back a couple of years. In terms of key levels, the most obvious one that stands out to me is this level through the center, which is around about $5.15. And you can see here, after it made its first trough in December 22, it moved back up to test this level in Feb 23, got rejected, tried again in June 2023, got rejected. It broke through in Feb 24, but then you can see it consolidated sideways for a number of months before breaking out once again. If this trend line doesn't hold, it's more than likely that SoundHound will retrace and find support around about this $5.15 level. The next few weeks in April obviously will confirm direction, whether or not price is going to hold on this trend line or it's going to fall through and potentially find support at this $5 level. So put SoundHound on your watch list. It is in trend and may find support imminently. Now, since the high, which was in December 24, it has pulled back around about 73%. To that support line would be 80%. So picking up SoundHound at the trend line would give you an upside potential of around 247%. If it does fall further into the $5 support line and it reversed there, then the upside potential would be around 386% back to the all-time high. So plenty of potential upside with SoundHound, whether you buy it on the trend line or whether you buy it back at support. Again, right now, it hasn't confirmed direction, it's still falling. So we have to wait the next couple of weeks to see what price action does. Will it fall further into the $5 level, or will it reverse next week and start moving back into trend? Only time will tell. So next up is Palantir Technologies. Now this one is a really popular stock. It's trending really, really well since that low back in January 23. And it has been respecting this long-term trend. You can see here, put a trend line on the stock. Palantir was trending up very nicely for almost a couple of years, but since this point here in August 2024, the buyers have come in and it has been experiencing a little bit of euphoric buying, with the price action pulling away from this trend line. And of course, typically when we see this euphoric buying, there's normally a correction. Since the high in February 2025, Palantir has fallen around 42% into the low that was created last week. The risk at the moment is it might fall further if price action falls and finds support at the trend line. It might come back to that key level of 66%, which is obviously a key Fibonacci level. Keep watching Palantir. It may fall further. It's looking as if it probably is going to at the moment based on this chart. Price often comes back to check these trend lines once it pulls away too far. So if you were to pick it up at that trend line support, it would be around about $40. And then the upside potential back to the all-time high would be a very healthy 200%. So lots of potential for Palantir. Based on this chart right now, and my understanding, it does look as if it's going to fall further, and it might well come back to test that $40 level. I think the first level I'd like to see it test, it's probably this low here from January 25, which is about $63. So it could find support there, but if it falls through, there's high probability it's going to come back and test this $40 level here, which corresponds with the current trend line. So keep watching this one. Very, very popular fintech stock, lots of potential. So next up is SoFi, another fintech stock. Very popular stock, fallen heavily in the last few months. So recent all-time high of $18, but since that high, back in January 25, it has fallen around about 50%. So a key level, as you are well aware, when stocks do retrace 50%, there's a really strong chance they're going to reverse. And that 50% level corresponds to around about $8.80. So the question is SoFi going to stop falling here? The answer is we don't know. Clearly a big bearish bar in March, falling from about $14.87 into the low of $10.90. And of course, last week in April, obviously this bar is just 1 week of a month, another significant fall as well. So right now, it does look as if SoFi will fall further. Will it stop at 887? I'm not sure. If it falls through this level here, where will it go to next? Based on the chart, the next significant low is around about $6, which corresponds to this price low here back in August 2024. So the next few weeks will confirm direction. There's another key level here around about 1172, which corresponds to this peak back in July 2023. So if SoFi does find support around this level, what we want to see is price reverse, break up above this key level here of $11, then come back to test to really confirm that SoFi is making another move up, which is going to be sustained. So keep your eye on SoFi, very popular stock, but as with all of these stocks, or the most of these stocks I'm showing today, they are still falling. So next up is AMD. So since March 2024, AMD is in a confirmed downtrend, and it has fallen since that high around 63%. Now it looks as if it's already fallen through this key $100 level, which you can see was made by this peak back in January 2021, and where price has come back and found support on multiple occasions. So it has fallen through there. The next level of support for AMD could be around about $72, which corresponds to this price action back here in 2021. So it's gone through 100. It looks as if right now AMD is heading down to find support at this next level of 72. And of course, if it falls through there, then the next stop is going to be around about $54. Now, what's interesting to note about AMD is that it does trend very, very nicely. You can see since 2018 and maybe a bit before, it has been in a long-term uptrend. And you can definitely trade this stock using simple trend lines. For example, you can put a trend line here and clearly buy on the break when it moves up. And we can apply the trend line in the same manner right now. So you can see clearly price action is respecting the current trend line. And simply we can wait for a break to confirm that entry with a very common rule where the price action simply closes above the trend line for the entire month. Right now, it looks as if it's going to find support at 72, so watch this one closely because there is an upside potential for this one so from the current close, upside potential of 164%, but the high probability is going to fall into that low of $72. So the potential there, if it reverses and breaks the trend line back up to the all-time high, is around 211%. So lots of potential with AMD, and personally I'm going to watch this one closely because the way that it trends, it's just a matter of time before it breaks up and starts a new uptrend. You can see AMD long term is in a very strong uptrend. So I'm watching this one closely for a trend line break. Next up is NVDA, one of the most popular tech stocks on the market. And straight away we can see over the last 5 years it's been in a super trend, absolutely smashing it. Really strong long-term trend going back almost 10 years. And you can see how well NVIDIA moves and how well it respects the trend line. Each time it moves up, it does come back to find support at the long-term trend. Since the $153 high back in November 2024, NVIDIA has had a significant pullback, falling by around about 40% into the current low. Now, if we zoom out and look at the long-term 10-year trend, you can see NVIDIA often pulls away from the long-term trend line before having a correction and finding support near the trend line. So it's done this on one occasion, 2 occasions, and it's on the sort of third wave now. So it's looking as if NVIDIA does have more to fall. And if it stays true to form, like the pullback here and the pullback here, then price action could be falling further, perhaps into this support level of around about $51, corresponding to the peak back in August 2023. Let's just mark that level up there. Yeah, $50. So right now, NVIDIA looks as if it's going to fall a bit further, and that would be in keeping with the 10-year trend. Obviously, I could be wrong. It might reverse and take back off once again. If we zoom in a bit, before that $50 level, let's just mark up some other key levels for NVIDIA. So we've got this key level here where it pulled back, which is $75, and then probably a very, very strong level for NVIDIA is the $90 level. So it did fall through $100 obviously last week. So right now it's looking as if it's either going to find support at $90 or fall into this level here of $75. What we might see over 2025 is the price fall further. So it may do this sort of movement, come back down, slight pullback, test that $90 level resistance, fall a bit further, come and test 75, and eventually come back towards the long-term 10-year trend line. If we zoom out, it does suggest that this level of fall is on the cards based on the historical price action. But of course, we just don't know. We have to wait to see what price does at each price level to see how the buyers react. Will they come in and see value at $90? Or perhaps the selling will be too strong and price will fall further into that $75 level. We just don't know yet, but NVIDIA's business is very strong. They're still leading the AI sector. They've got great products and a very healthy bottom line. So I wouldn't be surprised if price finds support quite quickly and starts to move back up. But this obviously is one of your top picks. So next up is Supermicro. Now this company had some legal filing issues last year with the NASDAQ and some accounting issues, but now it's all sorted. So investor confidence has returned. Since October 18, this stock has been trending up quite nicely, and you can see during July 22, price action did pull away from the trend line. Consolidated here during July, August, September, October, and November before pushing up once again. So we can see the green box highlights some euphoric buying here for Supermicro as the price peaked out into its all-time high of $123, and that happened in March 2024. Now, since that peak, price has fallen into the low of $17, which is a fall of around about 86%, and that was back in November 24. And more recently, Supermicro has moved back up into this peak here in December 24, making a new peak and then finding a higher base here around about $25 level. However, the last couple of months have been bearish, and we can see in the chart, following the legal issues being sorted, there was a market reaction during February this year, with price moving up quite significantly. Inside bar during March, and obviously we've got 1 week of price action here for April. So right now it looks as if Supermicro is moving up, and this is another one certainly to watch. Now, based on the peak back here in August 2023 and this sideways price action, there does appear to be some resistance around about the $35 level. So it'll be interesting to see what price does in April. Will it be rejected at this level and fall further, or is it going to break through and start moving up? I think for an entry on Supermicro, I want to see price action in April come and break this $35 level. An entry above $35 would give you potential upside to 83% to this peak here, and then over 240% to the all-time high. So lots of upside potential with Supermicro. However, once again, we need to see what April's price action is going to do. Right now, this first week in April is looking bearish. So what we need to see now with the next few weeks is for price action to start moving up with a nice strong green bar for the month of April to give investors confidence. And in April, if we do finish up with a strong green bullish bar with price action moving into this zone here, then there could be a potential entry during May when price breaks above $66. Okay, next up is Oracle. And once again, we can see on the monthly chart, Oracle has been in a long-term uptrend. Starting in October 2022, we can see that Oracle has been trending up nicely. However, based on the trend line, we can see now that trend is over, with the March bar breaking the trend line. And obviously last week in April, also looking bearish. So right now, Oracle is pulling back. Where will it pull back to? How far will it fall? There's a key level here I can see in the chart, which is $127, which corresponds to the peak back in June 23, where it tried to push up and got rejected. And then also it tried again in September 23, pushed up, got rejected. It did break through then in June 24, trended up to the all-time high of $198 before pulling back. So if you mark the all-time high there, we can see that price has pulled back since that all-time high into the low here, and it's pulled back around 35% into that level of $127. So this level does look relatively strong. If it breaks this level and falls further, it's probably heading towards this level here of around about $106 to potentially $100, corresponding to the peak back in December 21 and this sideways price action back in November and December in 2023. So April will be an interesting month to see where Oracle is heading. Is it going to fall further? If so, it could be into this level here, or it might find support exactly where it is at 127 and start to move back up. So definitely watch this one the next few weeks for price direction and confirmation. Okay, next up is Broadcom, and again, a lovely trending stock. From the October 2022 low, we can apply a long-term uptrend, and we can really see this stock trends beautifully, respecting that trend line. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 bars, 1 pullback, 4, 5 green, 1 pullback. It really does trend beautifully, this stock. However, since the all-time high of $253, it has pulled back and broken the trend line. So let's mark up the all-time high there, and then we can see since that all-time high in December, so 4 months ago, it has pulled back now 45% into the low created last week. But of course, it's just 1 week of April in this bar. However, this level here, yeah, it could find support here. That could be it. If it falls further, next level could be $120, just corresponding to this pause in the uptrend back in April 2024. 187 seems to be a level of interest here. So I'll mark that one up. And of course, if it does fall through $119, probably heading down to this area here of $92, corresponding to this price action here and this initial peak in May 2023. So right now, Broadcom is looking bearish. It is moving down. The question is, where is it going to stop? It might stop right here where it is now at 140, but based on the chart, it's looking as if it might come back and find support at 120. And of course, if we see a reversal bar at 120, it would indicate our first indication that Broadcom is reversing and moving back up. So definitely put this on your watch list. From that 120 support level, there's an upside potential to the all-time high of 110%. So a great return on offer if you're patient. And the last stock on the list is MicroStrategy. Once again, trending nicely since the low in January 2023, respecting the trend line as it moves up. And we can see clearly on the chart that MicroStrategy is still in trend, respecting the long-term trend line. So even though the stock has pulled back significantly from the all-time high of 546 back in November 2024, it's still above the long-term trend. So effectively, it's still in trend. The pullback from the all-time high to the current price is 52%. So a very, very strong level, 50%. So watch this one closely. Just going to mark up that level there where it's currently sitting. And we can see if we look closely at March's bar, got indecision here. We can see obviously price opened here on the left. Sellers came in, tried to push the price down, but then buyers came back in and it closed pretty much where it opened. So some indecision in March, and now the first week of April, we've got an inside bar at the moment. So it's not clear yet whether it's going to move up or down, but we have got the trend line support sitting here. So watch this one closely over the next few weeks in April to confirm direction. But if it does find support of the trend line and stays in trend, the potential upside for this stock back to the all-time high is 106%. So a great return on offer once you have confirmed direction. So 10 stocks to watch, put on your watch list. All have had significant pullbacks in the last few weeks. And once support is found, they may offer a great opportunity for 2025. Thanks for watching.